Hello, and thank you for tuning into this week's Mayor's Update. As always, we have a lot of important information to share with you here this week, so please feel free to share this video with your friends, family, relatives, and anyone else you think might find this information helpful over the course of the coming week. I want to start off by issuing a correction on something I said wrong in last week's update. This coming Monday, the Gardner Domestic Violence Task Force and the Voices of Truth will be hosting their Domestic Violence Awareness Vigil at 6:30 p.m. on the front steps of Gardner City Hall and in the event of rain in the City Hall Rotunda. Last week I had actually accidentally said 6 p.m. That time is 6:30 p.m. for that event. So if you are interested in joining to show your support and seeing what resources are available here in the community from the Voices of Truth and the Gardner Domestic Violence Task Force and the Spanish American Center, again, that is this Monday, October 3rd, at 6:30 p.m. on the front steps of Gardner City Hall or in the City Hall Rotunda in the event of rain. Thank you very much to Bernice Richard and all of her task force members for the work that they do in putting this very important event on every year and to really stand with the people in our community who are going through these struggles and show them that they can be safe here in their own home because they do have their community behind them. So thank you very much. Earlier this week, we had quite an interesting time at Gardner High School. We were one of the communities that was targeted in a bomb threat that hit several different high schools throughout the north central Massachusetts region. The threat proved to be unsubstantiated, and the state police are investigating the situation there. The call did come in from Ashburnham Police Department that some area high schools were going to be targeted with this. So the school was evacuated and all emergency procedures were put into place. The school and all buses were fully checked, and then when the police department and the fire department gave the all clear, students returned to their buildings and everyone was accounted for, either picked up by their parents or returned back into school. So I want to say thank you very much to the Gardner Fire Department, Gardner Police Department, and the Massachusetts State Police for their assistance in these matters. As always, if you have any questions, you can contact the superintendent's office or my office at any time regarding that event that was there. But we do want to reiterate that our students were safe and secure at all times, and that there was no threat to our students as a result of this bomb threat that was there. So thank you very much to everyone who was involved in really making sure that we had every I dotted and T's crossed when that situation happened. Speaking of Gardner High School, the project has begun for the construction of the new concession stand and outdoor bathrooms at Watkins Field. This is being done through a bond revenue account that we have here at the city. Basically what that means is when we go out for bonding on certain projects, if there's any leftover funding, we can use that funds towards other aspects of the project related to it. And when we go out for bid for which bank can issue that loan that we take out for those, the banks throw in a couple extra items that could sweeten the deal, that they can get the bid on that one, and the bank that won that threw in a couple extra $100,000 to go towards something related to the project. So when we took out the loan to fund the Watkins Field project, that money was taken in so that we could move forward and build the concession stand, and that construction has begun. There was a little bit of a rocky start, if you will, there, in that we had to take out about 15 feet of ledge that was there in order to put the foundation in, but it's up and rolling now, and the goal is to get it fully operational by the time the Thanksgiving game happens on Watkins Field this year. This is something that was really a big project when you look at the full scheme of it and you look at the engineering documents by Ty and Bond. It's actually quite intricate with the bathroom requirements and the different kitchen requirements that are there, as it is a concession stand. So looking forward to having this done and having Watkins Field completed. And we'll also be putting the picnic tables that were out in the Pleasant Plaza experiment that we had this summer out around that area too, so there'll be some new seating areas by that new concession stand as well. So thank you very much to everyone who's involved in that project and for getting that going, and I'm looking forward to seeing its grand opening at the Thanksgiving game this year. I want to say a very special congratulations to Gardner resident Eric Commodore, who is one of Gardner's representatives to the Monty Tech School Committee, who was recently elected as the chair of the Monty Tech School Committee. So it's great to see someone from Gardner representing us at our regional vocational technical schools school committee, let alone as its chairperson. So thank you very much, and congratulations to Eric on being selected for that role by the 18 members of the Monty Tech School Committee. This past week as well, Daniel Rivera, the former mayor of Lawrence, who's now the current executive director of Mass Development, which is the state's land bank and residential and commercial financing arm for different public projects, came out to tour downtown with Representatives Lotnick and I. The purpose of the tour was just to see the different projects that are ongoing in the downtown, what buildings have recently sold, what the plans are for those buildings, and what our future plans are for the area, and really seeing what state programs are available for the city to take advantage of so that we can work with these developers in finding new ways to attract people into the city. So for instance, one of the things that came out when we were talking about a bakery that's interested in coming into downtown is that Mass Development will actually finance the kitchen equipment 100% over the course of 20 years. So there's no grants available for that, but there are low interest loans for equipment and fit out costs and things like that. So there's things that we can work together with there, and that was the purpose of that event. So I do want to thank Director Rivera for coming out and really, helping us out here in Gardner. And Mass Development is the organization that is funding the renovations being done at the Old Temptations and Ryan Block building over with Mass Ave Rentals, not only through the $900,000 underutilized properties grant, but also assisting in the financing of about $2.4 million with Mass Development for the project that they've actually done through a local bank, Fidelity Bank. So really working with the state and our local partners, not only just in the development side of things, but also on the financing side of things. And then Mass Development is to actually cover some of the interest in that loan too, to make it a more competitive rate. So there's a lot going on here in downtown Gardner that we wouldn't be able to do without partners at the state like Reps Lotnick, Governor Baker, Lieutenant Governor Polito, Director Rivera, and everyone else who's really helped us get this grant funding into the downtown. It's about $17 million when you add it up just in 2022 alone, let alone the additional $11 million we brought in from the state last year just for downtown. So there's a lot going on and there's a lot of moving parts, and we wouldn't be able to do that without the partners that we have. So thank you very much to everyone who's assisted us with these efforts. As a quick heads up on things to look forward to next week, keep your eye out on the city's social media and website for an announcement as to what the city's plans are for the Waterford Street School building located at 62 Waterford Street here in Gardner. We're just fine-tuning the details at the end of this week. Again, these videos are filmed on the Thursday preceding when these videos get released, but it should be a good time. We're going to be announcing who all of the new tenants of our new community center will be over at Waterford Street School, and I want to thank everyone who's been involved in this process. This is something that we actually began in June of 2020, and July of 2020, that we began these conversations with, but then with the pandemic and everything else that happened, we really had to put a stop on them until about September of 2021. And over the course of the end of 2021 and where we are right now in the past year, we've really fine-tuned those details. So this coming week, you'll be notified of the new tenants of our new community center that's going to be taking over what that school is now. And really excited to see the different organizations that are going to be in that spot grow and flourish and be able to work together in a more collaborative manner to better the residents who could use the services that are over there. So keep your eye out for that. It's going to be a really exciting announcement coming next week. The City Council will be meeting at 6:45 this coming Monday prior to their regular 7:30 meeting to have an informal meeting on the proposed changes to the city's charter. Now, if you don't know what the city's charter is, it's the city's version of a constitution. What the vote before the City Council right now is whether or not to create a committee to review what's currently in the document that was written in 1923 to see if there's any changes or updates that need to be made to the document. The City Council did ask me to provide any changes that I think should be reviewed or looked into, because again, what they're reviewing right now are the merits of whether or not the charter should be reviewed at all, and seeing if it's worth creating the committee to make those to review the charter, then make recommendations that would then have to go to the City Council from there. So if you're interested in that, again, 6:45 this coming Monday, the City Council will meet an informal session for that purpose. But I do want to stress that, again, the Council is voting just to create the committee to review the document. How the process for amending a charter works for a city or town in Massachusetts is that the City Council would vote to create the committee. The committee would review the existing document and any recommendations that were there. There'd be a public hearing before the committee as to the contents of the city charter and any changes that should or should not be made. The committee will then meet again to review any of those changes and any meetings that they see fit. Any recommendations they make on any changes that should be made then have to go before the city council, who has to vote to approve those changes. It then has to be signed by me and then sent to the ballot box for the voters in the city to vote to accept or not. After the voters vote on that, it actually then has to go to the state legislature, where it has to pass through the House, Senate, and be signed by the governor before it becomes law. So there's a lot that has to happen before any changes are made. All that's being talked about right now are whether or not it's worth having a review of the document, since its 100th birthday is happening next year. So again, this coming Monday at 6:45 in the City Council chambers and on Gardner Educational Television, and then reposted after on the city's YouTube channel. The Senior Center is having their annual health fair this coming October 5th at 10 a.m. That's next Wednesday. There's going to be several different vendors there. I believe in the upwards of a couple dozen vendors that are going to be there set up. So I do want to thank Mike Ellis, our director of the Senior Center, and his staff, Nancy and Rob, for getting this all ready and together for the public that's there. So if you're interested, again, 10 to 2 next Wednesday, October 5th at Waterford Street School's gym is the annual Senior Center Health Fair with several different vendors and information on the resources that we have available in Gardner and in the greater Gardner community. This coming Saturday, October 2nd, Saturday, October 1st, is going to be the biannual Greater Gardner Nip Hunt and Litter Cleanup, hosted by the Keep Gardner Beautiful organizations that used to be known as the Gardner Litter Angels. I want to thank Diane Neon LeBlanc for her work in organizing this again this year. But again, that's this coming Saturday, October 1st from 9 to 12 p.m. But what is happening on Sunday, October 2nd, is Meineke, located over on Main Street, is going to be having a fundraiser for a child named Everett who is suffering with cancer right now. So if you're around Sunday at 10 a.m., again, that's on October 2nd, there'll be a fundraiser over at Meineke at Main Street and Washington Street, where there's sure to be a fun time for all. So I want to thank Russ for putting that on to help that local family with this trying times and raising some money for the family to assist in everything that's going on in their lives right now. So again, that's going to be taking place this Sunday, October 2nd at 10 a.m. The city's electrical aggregation rate is going to expire on November 1st. For those of you who may not know what this is that you have an opportunity as a resident here, and you may be getting a mailer about this week, to participate in what's called the city's municipal aggregation system. And that means that every so often the city will go out for bid for electrical rates in the city for our residents that are here, to try to compete with the regular electrical rates that are variable, that change throughout the year, that National Grid will normally have. The last time the city had a contract signed for this, the contract was good for 3 years. So the current rates that we're currently seeing right now, prior to November 1st, were signed back in 2019 at 13 cents per kilowatt hour. We went out to bid 3 separate times for the electrical rate this year as our contract is expiring, and the lowest bid that we were able to get was 23 cents per kilowatt hour. Now, I understand that this is a 10 cent per kilowatt hour increase in our electrical rates here in Gardner, but to put this into perspective, National Grid announced their rates that are going to be starting soon, and they came in at 35 cents per kilowatt hour. So we are still about 12 cents lower than the National Grid rate. But as things change, we want to let people know there is no penalty for opting in or opting out of the city's program if you want to change back and forth from the variable rate, whatever is lower. But again, this is something that the city just does as a service to the community. The city doesn't make any money off of this. No one pays the city directly for this. We just go out for bid on behalf of the residents that are there. But I do know that, again, acknowledging that it is 10 cents higher, one of the things that I worked on with the consultant who we have with this Constellation Energy is that we only signed a 1-year contract at that electrical rate. That way, in case things do go down again next summer, we're able to sign on to that lower rate and not lock the city in at this high rate for the next 3 years, which is what we did in the past. So we are going to continue to monitor the situation as we move forward, but I just wanted to let you know that the city's aggregation rate that is starting on November 1st, while it is going up, is not going up as much as the new rates that National Grid announced this past week. And if you have any questions on that, you can contact my office or the city engineer's office at any time to discuss your options related to that program and how we can assist in understanding the different rates that are associated with those. Lastly, I just want to close by saying a very special thank you to everyone who participated in making last weekend such a very special weekend here in Gardner, with the fabulous Fall Festival that took place in the upper part of downtown, the Oktoberfest that took place at the Ale House from Orpheum Park down to Lafayette Square, and then of course the return of the Gardner Chair Luge. It sure was a fun time for everyone who visited. If you didn't get a chance to make it out this year, that's okay. We'll have it again next year. But it took a village to make all of that happen that was there, and I want to thank everyone involved: Gardner Square 2, the Gardner Festival Committee, Patty Bergstrom at the Velvet Goose, the Gardner Ale House, Jessica DeRoy, our Economic Development Coordinator, Colin Smith in my office, just everyone who really took part in making that event possible. It really was, a lot of work, and many hands made for light work and made for great work that was there. So thank you to everyone who was involved, and I look forward to seeing how we can continue these community events as we move forward. However, that concludes this week's update. As always, if you have any questions, you can contact my office at any time, and I look forward to speaking with you again next week. Thank you very much, and have a great day.